everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Anaya Rai Singhani. We have a very, very fun live stream today. It's called Meet the Makers, and it's all about the Django MongoDB backend. So I'm going to give us about a minute or so just to wait for some more people to come in and join us today. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and if you've ever used MongoDB before, if you've ever used Django before, if you've been able to try out our backend library. I see a couple familiar faces. I see Peter and Nick and Ricardo. Hello, hello. I am tuning in today from California. Jib and Shubham, where are y'all tuning in from?
I'm based out of Toronto.
Toronto, cool.
I'm tuning in from New York. So
Amazing. Yay. Okay, perfect. We have another Californian. Amazing. Represent. Perfect. So why don't we go ahead and get started? This is a super exciting episode today, just because our Django MongoDB Backend Python library was actually released for public preview earlier in February. So what is the point of our live stream today? Well, today we are going to answer some frequently asked questions. We are going to dive first into a demo, and then we are actually going to turn it over to the audience and see if y'all have any questions and answer them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to my two very, very special guests so that they can go ahead and introduce themselves. And I'm going to start off with you, Jib.
all right. Thank you. So as you guys have heard, my name is Jib Adegunloye, and I have been the lead engineer for this amazing project, the Django MongoDB Backend. Yeah.
Cool. My name is Shubham. I'm a product manager at MongoDB for Python, and alongside Jib, I've been leading it from the product side, and really excited to be here and chat with you all.
Yes, thank you both. So these two were super crucial in the success of the library and our recent public preview. So if you have any questions at all that are Django MongoDB backend related, these two are the ones that you should ask. Before we dive into our little Q&A portion, let's just go ahead and quickly go over our agenda. So first, of course, with any live stream, we are going to go over a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to go all about Django MongoDB backend. You're going to hear me say Django MongoDB backend a million times in the next hour. So hopefully it'll inspire you to go forth and create something really cool on top of our library. We are going to see an amazing little demo from Jib. We are going to have an audience Q&A, so be sure to think about any questions and leave them in the chat as well. And then we are also going to have some time to go over some resources. So of course, with housekeeping, there are no bad questions. Ask whatever you like. And if you have a question, just use the chat feature, and then I will be keeping an eye on the chat as well. So if there's some that I can answer throughout the live stream, I will. But the majority of the questions we will be trying to take at the end. So let's go into it. Are we ready to begin? I'm super excited about this. I know Shubham and Jib are super excited about this as well, and I hope that everyone who's watching is really pumped. This is such an amazing library that's been put out, and I know that we're going to see some really amazing use cases come forth from it. But for those who maybe don't know what our Django MongoDB backend library is, can we just have a quick summary?
Yeah, I can take a first stab. Jib, feel free to add it. So, I'm sure we're going to dive into the details in the rest of the talk. So I'll give a quick summary and kind of dig deeper later. MongoDB Django backend is an official integration from MongoDB to allow users to use Django and MongoDB together. It has out-of-the-box support for some key Django features like models, Django ORM, migration, admin panel, etc. It is currently under public preview, and you can easily download it from PyPy and try it out.
Perfect.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that any better myself. So yeah, that about sums it up. Yeah.
Amazing. So I know that this combination of Django and MongoDB is a really big deal right now in the Python community. Can you go over why it is so important to developers?
Yeah, as a developer, the developer in me, I love building things. And after working with Python for over a decade now, I can say with confidence that Django and MongoDB are two great technologies for me to build kind of powerful applications, just like many other developers. I appreciate Django's batteries included approach. It can provide you so many built-in functionality out of the box. And MongoDB also has a very similar principles. And we'll go into the detail of how kind of MongoDB complements Django's design principles. So one of the key things about Django is speed and performance. Django is designed for rapid development, helping developers to take projects from concept to completion in record time. Just like that, MongoDB is built for speed. You can do fast reads, right? In addition to that, you have flexible schema that lets you adapt to changing data needs seamlessly. Um, Going back to Django's fully loaded, batches included approach, it has so many things out of the box, like the ODM layer, admin panel, authentication. MongoDB has a very similar approach. MongoDB is just not only a database, but it's a developer data platform. It has so many functionality like Atlas search, vector search, stream processing out of the box that kind of really complements Django's design principles. Um, Security, one of the other very key important thing in the enterprise space. Django takes security very seriously, and it has a lot of good features around to protect against threats like SQL injection, cross-site scripting. MongoDB prioritize security as well. We have some top-of-the-line security features, the traditional ones like authentication, authorization, but we also have great encryption features, for example, encryption of your data at rest in the transport layer. We are also introduced like client-side field-level encryption, and also now creating capability for, like creating while your data is encrypted. Um, uh, Next thing is scalability. How can we not talk about scalability? So Django is designed to be scalable because it gives you so many things out of the box, and you can kind of quickly develop and build on top of that. MongoDB is also designed for scaling. So we have horizontal scaling, which leverages sharding and kind of distribute your data all over globe based on where your data users are requesting your data from to make it more performant. And last not but the least, like versatility of any use case. Like I've seen Django used in so many industries, from manufacturing, automobile, healthcare, finance, to whatnot. Similarly, MongoDB is a general purpose database that makes it a great fit for various application use cases, from building powerful GenAI applications leveraging vector search to dynamic e-commerce platform, or even like a massive real-time IoT data streams with native time series support. Like Django and MongoDB is a great fit.
Wow, that's awesome. I loved that rundown. I feel like you hit every single crucial aspect of the library, and thank you for doing that. So let's kind of go back a step and say, out of everything that you listed, what excites you the most, or what should excite developers out there the most about this integration? This is like completely your own opinion.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. I figure I'd take a stab at it. Yeah, I think what really excites me a lot about this integration is just for me, it's the history behind it, right? I, as a developer, have made a lot of sites, be that proof of concept, be that production level, whereby I'd wanted to use MongoDB. Because that's just been what I've kind of grown using. It's very quick for iteration and development. And at the same time, I don't want to manage my my authentication. I don't want to deal with my sessions. I don't want to kind of deal immediately with all of those more standardized but yet still nitty gritty pieces of web development. And it was always a pain, at least in the early days, for me to ever make that narrative work. And so, what I'm super excited now to be able to say that this is a marriage of not just MongoDB and Django, but it feels as if it's bringing Django and MongoDB into a space that we previously could not capture before, or nearly as effectively. So I'm really excited by all of the downstream effects that this immediately entails.
Yeah, you answered the question that I had, that was what makes this time different from other libraries that have been out there for Django and MongoDB. So you just hit the nail right on the head. Thank you for that. But how about so Django and relational databases, those are a very well-known relationship and very well-loved relationship, right? So speaking to Django developers, why would a Django developer going forward want to use a NoSQL database like MongoDB?
Yeah. I think we already spoke a little bit about how Django and MongoDB is a great fit together, but some of the key things to kind of reiterate, the flexible schema that comes with the MongoDB's document model. In today's time, your application data needs are changing, and as your data is evolving, you want to make sure that your application is catching up with that, and you have a robust database that supports that change. MongoDB provides you a very seamless way to do that through its flexible document model. Next thing is scalability. Like MongoDB's ability to scale horizontally means building large volumes of, handling large volumes of data and high requests seamlessly, which is beneficial for growing applications. You can also leverage our embedded document support and array for kind of representing rich data relationships. And then last but not the least, the high performance read and write. Like MongoDB was designed to be performant. And, when you have like high read and write situations and your application need like low latency for data accessing, like MongoDB is a great fit.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So what about from Django developers who may not have used MongoDB before? When using this library for the first time, what can they expect? Does the back end right now support all core Django features? I know we talked a little bit about the admin interface, but are there other features as well that an isolated Django developer can jump right in and be like, oh my gosh, I don't have to learn everything from scratch. It's easy to get up and running.
Yeah, speaking from personal experience, I can definitely attest to the core Django features being supported. So being able to use the query set APIs or query however you want, being able to seamlessly integrate with the fields and form validation pieces, and having that all just naturally link up to the backend kind of continues to abstract away that feeling that a lot of Django developers want, which is I don't really want to do that much or know that much about intense querying. I want to just kind of work through the exposed API. And what makes it even better is been like you get that, and then we've also managed to kind of expose a functionality that allows you to still adjust as seamlessly, do more. And like Shubham said, Atlas, vector, and as well as other forms of querying. So yeah.
Perfect. And I love that answer because it kind of takes me to my next question, but can you take us through a little bit of what it was like to build out this library?
This has definitely been a pretty intense undertaking. But with that being said, all good things take work. Like things that matter, or doing work that matters, or that is impactful, you can kind of see as through the byproduct of the work what it takes to do. And some key pieces that make this such a powerful, unique, and honestly worthwhile library is how we approach the general philosophy of what Django is as a framework and what MongoDB is as a backend, right? For a long time, we've kind of sat through the idea or become comfortable with the notion that Django can really only occupy SQL databases or SQL frameworks. As we really dug deep into how the framework works, we understood that based on the hookings that are the hookings and the APIs provided for third-party backends, we actually have skin in the game. And what I mean by that is like exposed through the functionalities that we intimately know over at MongoDB, we understood that there are natural ways in which we can make the library work. And those ways are through really hooking into the lookup operators and making those lookup operators match to our aggregation framework, making the same way we construct our pipeline map to the same way that standard SQL library or any of the built-in SQL libraries would generate their query structure. And as a result of that, we're able to do a lot of development in lockstep, maintain a level of parallelized and continued development. And it's because of that we've built this confidence that, you know, we have a product that can stand the test of time, and a product that, you know, passes all the necessary tests. We're not doing as many workarounds, as many hot fixes, as many patches. You just need the one library.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to see the demo of it in a little bit, because I think everyone out there will truly understand how really you just need that one library to be able to accomplish so much and build really complex applications from just a handful of lines. But I see this question out there, so I want to ask it as well. But how does the Django MongoDB backend library integrate with Django's ORM? I know we talked about that a little bit, but let's dive into, is it fully supported, or are there any areas where MongoDB's document model might possibly cause some deviations?
So in terms of just outright technical support, I like to say we wholesale do support many of those common functionalities and features. The relationship we have with the ORM is you construct a model object the same way you do in any of the other backends, right? Of course, we are a NoSQL database, so there are some, you know, fundamental differences and some like SQL operations that we just won't do as a natural constraint. But outside of that, we've actually got rich and almost complete coverage of any of those things that you would expect in the ORM. And if you check our documentation, we explicitly list what those few functions that we don't do. And I can personally attest that will not hinder the experience you have, because what we don't provide, we more than make up for in the additional pieces that we expose. And I'll definitely touch on those when I get into the demo. Yeah.
Perfect. And how about things like vector search and atlas search? Those are two major features of MongoDB's platform. With this library, would a developer still be able to create really complex artificial intelligence applications?
Yes. So in the public preview release, we have support for both atlas search and vector search through the raw aggregate functionality. And you can, one bit I would highlight is that you need to build indexes through our maybe program integration through our drivers, or leverage Atlas UI or MongoDB Compass. But outside of that, you can easily query, ISO query for Atlas search and vector search. We also have native integration for popular AI frameworks in the Python space, like LangChain, Llama Index, Haystack, a bunch of others that you can leverage to kind of build a full-fledged 360-degree modern AI-powered application.
Awesome. Okay, and with that, Jib, if you're ready, I will hand it over to you and we can go through a little demo.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So let me go ahead and present my screen.
Yes, I will stop sharing mine.
All right, let me go ahead and, all right, can everyone see? Great.
Yes.
So great.
Can we zoom in a tiny bit? And then also
Absolutely.
For everyone watching, if you have any questions throughout the demo, please leave your questions in the comments and we can ask Jib when he's done.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do was first go through how simple it really is to get started on a project. And so first thing is I'm going to go ahead and just show that somebody can make an app in about 10 seconds. And so first thing I do is I'll go ahead and I'll pip install the latest version of our library. And the version here we specify is 5.1.star. Let's go. Oh, excuse me. Let me just go ahead and copy. I think it's the escape stringing that is messing things up here. All right, pip install. Just go ahead and do this. Great. So I've, as you can see here, I've gone ahead and installed the Django MongoDB backend. Just to confirm, what this does is it also goes ahead and installs the matching version of Django. So if I do Django admin -- version, it tells you, great, your Django version is 5.1.6, and the Django MongoDB Backend version will map to those same first 2 digits. Great. The next thing I now want to do is I want to actually start a project. So what we've done is we've provided folks with a great or a handy template to allow for all the configuration pieces to already be present whenever you want to start this app. And that really introduces, or that really clears up a lot of the confusion or issues. So I'm going to go ahead, and I believe I actually have an example right here. So I'm just going to remove that example and run it again. There you go. Great. So if I go in to example, and I believe I go tree, there we go. It immediately shows the tree structure of the app we're going. And finally, what I want to show is how we connect to the database. Connecting to the database is very similar to what happens now. If I press code, that will open up this page. And we can, from here, and apologies, zooming in, from here, we can see that it will, in fact, generate the connection string and the parse URI, where you can just, right here, pass in your Atlas URI. And so just to finally show that how quickly things get started, I'll do python manage.py, run server. Great. We haven't migrated anything, but do not worry. All I want to do is simply demonstrate that this website right here appears. There we go. Just like that, the server is up and running, and you can get to iteration. And so this is the first step, just showing what it looks like to start a server. But what I really want to show you is what you can do after you get it started. So jumping over here, I already had a project I had started on based strictly off of the getting started instructions on available on our MongoDB website, and I wanted to expand it a little, So for additional background, the standard MongoDB website, standard MongoDB getting started, uses our sample mflix database, and I wanted to build a way to quickly, search through it. Right. So the first thing I did was I built an Omni search bar, and I wanted to do that just using the query predicates available directly through the base Django framework. So if you look here, I'm using that movie model object. I'm taking an input provided, and then I'm searching on that term. If the term doesn't exist, I'll just return everything. So that's why you see things here. So I'll go ahead, I'll type transformer, right? Boom, look at that. I'm getting the Transformers the movie. For a typical developer who's familiar in Django, there's actually nothing that's changed about your workflow on generating these filters, and you'll find that in many different ways, this maps. But here's where things get interesting. As you see here, I've defined transformers, but like I said, I'm trying to make an Omni search bar. And so let's say I want a Transformers movie specifically about Decepticons. So I'm going to go in here and say Decepticons. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of this filter, it's only actually able to look at, the title. Maybe if you, mend or work with the API, you can make it search across multiple different fields. But we're in MongoDB land, right? Atlas actually does a lot of this stuff for you. So what I've done is I decided, hey, I'm going to extend this basic search to use MongoDB's rich full text search feature. Now, I'm showing you this code just to show how quick and easy it is to set it up. A lot of this may look a little bit like a lot, but in reality, this is the standard way to do or conduct a search. So using the $search operator and specifying your index, you can just say, I'm looking for text on any of the fields I have. And you can even specify it even more, but you can say, I'm looking for text on any of the fields this model has, and I'm willing to set it to fuzzy. And what fuzzy matching means is there may be 1 or 2 letters off from the word I'm actually trying to type. I then set the limit, and then I project those same values. Now, the beautiful thing is this is using the same raw feature that's available in the Django query set API. We've just extended it to handle MQL. And so to show what difference that makes, I'm going to go here to a route I've already generated called Atlas search, right? And so, great, now we're searching with full text search. And let's say I go to Decepticons and I type search. Boom. So now I'm still getting Transformers results specifically because it sees the word Decepticons. And I believe if I even misspell it, yes, because of the power of fuzzy searching, we're able to still find values. The other beauty is Atlas Search automatically scores and ranks these things for you so you don't have to think about it, right? Now, imagine this applied to things like vector search or geospatial querying or any other form of querying that you can think of. MongoDB out of the box and even on our sandbox instances can have you iterate on this without changing much of your hardware, without changing much of the things. And this is what really excites me about this venture. The fact that we've expanded, blown up the space of what Django can achieve and the power that MongoDB allows you to exercise.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for showing us that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put up some resources on our screen that anyone can just take little QR code of and see. We have the GitHub, and then we also have a quick start. So if you would like to go through the quick start that Jib just showed, you can go ahead and do that. But thank you so much, Jib. That was awesome. You know what? I'm going to let you share your screen again because I have a handful of questions. So I'm going to remove mine and then let you share. And then if anyone else who's watching has questions as well, please go ahead and ask them. Perfect. And after I ask these questions, I'll go ahead and I'll put my resources back up. So don't worry, you didn't only have to have like 2 seconds to take pictures if you needed it. But okay, this was awesome. I have one quick question. So how does the library now handle model relationships such as foreign keys and many-to-many fields? Because I know that that's something that comes up very, very frequently when you're building Django applications.
Great question. So I'll just outright say we handle foreign keys the same way they're handled in a traditional workflow. While I will also add though, so a foreign key is just a value that references a key in another table. So the equivalent for us is that it is a value that represents a key in another collection or represents an ID or any reference value in another collection. And so because of that, we are able to make that work using our dollar lookup operator. However, one thing I'd like to caution folks about is that because we are a NoSQL database, it's a bit of an anti-pattern to leverage these foreign key fields. As you're adjusting and getting used to the library, I would definitely say, please, kick the tires, try it out using foreign keys. But I really want to push folks to use our extended embedded model type. And so what this allows you to do is to define a sub-document within your larger document. And this paradigm allows you to kind of do away with the necessity of a foreign key when defining your flows.
Could we zoom in a little bit on the embedded field? No, you're so fine.
So yeah, just to show you, right? You see here we have IMDb defined, and I believe as well we've got awards defined. And so what we do is we inherit from the embedded model class and say, just like you would with a normal model, what these values are. And so what happens is all of this data ends up still living in the same collection, allowing for extremely quick reads.
Very cool. And then also, so I know that, like as you just said, foreign keys and everything, that kind of stays the same for Django developers. But what about things like Django migrations? Will those also be as familiar as Django developers know, or has anything changed with the library?
So for the standard Django developer, you should notice very little difference, right? We use all the same keys, and I'm actually showing you the migration file we generated for this project right now. So as you can see, we still define, we show what field it is. We are able to render field alterations. And we look to continue to improve this so that it renders things like the embedded models more efficiently. But all of this, I would say migrations just work.
Perfect. And then, so I know that we went over in your demo, we went over search. Can we, from just a high level, look back at the aggregation pipeline and then just verbally talk through how you can bring it out if you wanted to do something a little bit more advanced like vector search?
Yeah. So I specifically isolated this code so it's easier to tease apart. But right here, this line 59 through 82, this is quite literally the syntactic equivalent of using our dot aggregate predicate in PyMongo. And so what happens is in this list of dictionary items, you can leverage the power of the aggregation framework. In this case, I've chosen to use $search, but just as easily, as you can see in this example below, I can extend it to use $vector search. I can extend it to use geoneer. I can extend it to use graph lookup. What ends up happening with any of this is it will still propagate all of the query. It will still do the aggregation framework querying. But once the payload comes back to you, we do the work of making sure that it converts back into the model object. And like, let's say you want to do more than just a simple project that gives you all the fields. So let's say you want to project something like, the score. The relative score of a let's say you want to project the relative score of a vector search query. What will happen is we will get that score. Notice that it is a new value produced from the aggregation framework and make it an annotation on the object, so you can actually also output the score. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Awesome. And then once again, if anyone has any questions that they'd like to get answered, just drop them in the chat and I will put them up on the screen and we can answer them. That was fantastic. I am going to go ahead and share my resources. Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, once again, if you would like to go through the quick start, we have the quick start. If you would like to go check out the GitHub repo, we have that as well. And you can get up and running, just as you saw Jib get up and running, you can get up and running in a handful of minutes. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Jib. That was really great. I love seeing that.
I'm always happy to present it.
We have a question from Jeffrey. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Does Django MongoDB Backend work with third-party libraries?
So, as of right now, this is currently basically the next phase of things for us, right? We are integrating at a blindingly fast speed with these third-party libraries. And one thing that kind of gives us positive signal as to whether we're engineering the right way is that as we're integrating these libraries, we're running their tests, and what we're finding is we're passing most, if not all, the tests. So to answer the question, we are working on it. Like, we are we very much urge folks to try it with the third-party libraries, and look towards the future as we give basically rubber stamps on libraries that we for certain know that we will pass and maintain that we'll continue to pass in the future as we go along in this project.
Yeah, and just to add to Jib's point, some of the third-party libraries that we're currently looking at is Django All-Auth, Django Debug Toolbar, and Django REST Framework. Is there any third-party library that you would like to see us support and look into? Definitely reach out to us through our community forum or drop in the chat.
Oh yeah, and I'll also add in there Django filter.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So, and to expand on it just a little bit more, we've taken a very active position in making these third-party libraries work. We've reached out, submitted tickets to the primary maintainers. We've spoken with primary maintainers and have let them know that we are very much interested in making sure that we are truly a part of everybody's standard or everyone's version of a Django workflow.
Perfect. Thank you for your question, Jeffrey. And if you have any other questions, please drop them in the chat. So one thing that I just really want us to emphasize before, we have a little bit of time left, but for Django developers that have never used MongoDB, is there a big barrier to entry?
I would say learning MongoDB is a pretty straightforward process, especially with the amount of resources we have. For example, we have MongoDB Learn, which is our own learning platform where you can take MongoDB courses for free. We also have a very robust documentation that developers can leverage as they're learning MongoDB. I would like to highlight our awesome AI chatbot on MongoDB Docs. As you're learning, it's pretty interactive, so it can get you the right information pretty quickly. So definitely leverage that. And if you're coming from the relational world, there is a great course in MongoDB called Relational to Document Model. It will just give you a really nice introduction about MongoDB and how the concepts about document, model, collections map back to relational definition of tables and rows, etc. And then we also have great introductory course about MongoDB on MongoDB Learn. So definitely browse through the course catalog.
Perfect. Yeah, we have so many resources. So once again, if anyone needs any resources, just let us know and we'll happily point you in the right direction. But so what about if, as developers are going through and trying out this library and building their applications, if they run into any issues or any bugs, where can they go for help? And how can they report these issues?
Great question. So we've got a wealth of places, but I really want to direct developers to two. One is our MongoDB community forum. Please post there if there's anything where you're a little bit confused, where something you can't get started. I personally am looking at that at that forum, and I'm more than ready to answer questions. If I don't answer it, a member of the team will answer it. A member of the company will answer it. So please understand that directing your questions to the community forum is a great place to ask. Secondarily, if you find an issue or bug you want to report, because as you know, we are in public preview, we understand that we may not have caught every single case. Please report that as a formal Jira ticket or as an issue on the GitHub repository. Again, the team is looking at it. We've got a great set of eyes on all of these problems. So rest assured, you know you'll be handled. Like we have our we've been working closely with Tim Graham, former Django fellow. We've been working with our member Alex as well, who's very, very familiar with Django, has actually been a big pioneer of our third-party library support. We'll be more than ready and more than equipped to help. So it is not just these faces that you see here. There is a large force behind making sure that this stays permanent.
Yeah, in addition to Jib, two places, we also have our own internal feedback portal called feedback.mongodb.com, where you can leave feedback. You can also see what other developers have requested. You can also add your vote to existing feedback requests, just to let us know, that is important for you, and we'll prioritize that.
Perfect. And then we have this question from Ayush, which is great. And I think that we can tie that really nicely into a question that I wanted to ask both of you anyway. What does the future of Django look like for MongoDB? And what can developers be excited about going forward, especially because, as we mentioned, it's not recommended right now for production use, but it will be. So anything that we can get to get everyone excited?
Yeah, we have some really exciting features coming up as part of our future roadmap. One of them is like full support for MongoDB document model, and then making sure that you can leverage MongoDB's powerful encryption features like CSFL encryptable encryption out of the box through the integration. And as Chip mentioned, we're also working on supporting some third-party frameworks, which is, we know, very integral to many Django developers' workflow while building production-grade applications. So we're looking into that as well. And then we're aiming to provide native support for features like Atlas Search and Vector Search right through the integration. In addition to that, if there's anything you'd like us to see as support, definitely reach out to us. You can see our roadmap in MongoDB documentation and kind of provide feedback.
Perfect. And Django is a huge community. So what are some of the ways that MongoDB is really committed to supporting all of these Django developers?
Yeah, like we discussed earlier, one of the key principles of MongoDB is like meeting developers where they are. And, we saw a huge amount of interest from the community to use Django and MongoDB together. I'll quickly reference one data point. If you look at the Django's developer survey for the last 3 years, in 2021, there wasn't any mention of MongoDB in the survey because it's not an officially supported database. Come 2022, 6% of the developers reported using a database that is not supported by Django, and MongoDB was one of them, the most reported database. Come 2023, 8% of the developers reported Django with MongoDB. So we saw that, we took note of that, and we decided to put resources behind that and build an official integration. Now, as Chip mentioned, we have a whole team, engineering team, working on building this integration to support the community, and we're working towards the GA release. In addition to that, we're also going to be present at DjangoCon Europe this year and DjangoCon US to talk to you in person and learn more about what you are doing with Django and MongoDB together.
Yes, super exciting. And I am blessed enough to be giving that talk at DjangoCon Europe. So if you're going to be there, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know, and we can hang out in Dublin. But so we have a couple minutes left, so I have just some fun questions. Off the top of your heads, is there anything that you're most excited, any use cases that you're most excited to see come out of this new library?
Yeah, given that MongoDB is a general purpose database with so many additional functionalities like Atlas Search, Vector Search, and similarly, Django is also very used in all across like different sort of industries. I have seen people using Django and MongoDB in all sorts of industries, including healthcare, finance, e-commerce, to even like the latest like Gen AI space. So I'm kind of excited about all of them, but one thing that particularly stands out to me is like Gen AI use case, which is the latest thing that a lot of people are talking about. And I want to see how people are leveraging Django and MongoDB's vector search capability and AI frameworks integration to build cool, powerful applications.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I'm most excited to see as well, because AI is just going so far right now. There's so many cool use cases for everything that's Gen AI related. So I'm excited to see how this can really, connect with that. And we'll have some fun content coming out as well, so stay tuned for that. And my last question that I have for you two before we can jump back into my slides and see if there are any lingering audience questions are, if you're a Django developer and you're watching this live stream, what should the next steps be?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. I please feel free to add on. I just say code, like go ahead, like kick the tires, really try it out.
Yeah.
I think you'll be very, very surprised by how well and how easy it is to integrate with. And then on top of that, you'll be very, very pleased with the things you can do. Just connecting to an M0, which is a cluster you can create for free on our website and try things and work with it and mess with it.
Yeah. And in addition to that, we have a great documentation and great quick start tutorial created by Anaya, which should give you a really easy start. And while you're kicking the tires, if you have any thoughts, feedback, we'd love to hear what you liked, what we can improve, what additionally you'd like us to see supporting. So definitely reach out to us through the feedback channels that we just shared earlier.
Yes. Yeah, definitely get started with it. Try it out and let us know your feedback, because your feedback is how we get better. And let us know if there's any specific tutorials that you would like to see us create, because we'll do it. But yeah, if there are any last questions, please feel free. I have a couple more slides just to get through. So as I go through them, just drop your questions and then we'll answer them. But the biggest one, DjangoCon Europe, as Shiva mentioned, that's at the end of April. Once again, if you're going to be in Dublin, let me know. We can hang out and come see our talk. It'll be really fun. And of course, I have to give a little shout out to our Gen AI showcase. We talked quite a bit about AI. This is an incredible repo with over 50 notebooks covering all different areas such as RAG pipelines, agents, vector search, and it all has practical code samples and step-by-step tutorials. So you can get up and running just by cloning the notebook. But perfect. If there are any last minute thoughts No? Beautiful. Well, thank you both so much, Jib and Shubham. This has been incredible. I hope that everyone who's been watching feels inspired to go ahead and try out our new Django MongoDB backend and make something cool. And when you do, let us know. We would love to see it. But thank you all so much for taking the time to come and see this live stream, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Shubham.